Pinpoint accuracy, lethal and efficient, able to track down and navigate their way to a target on their own. Precision guided munitions have influenced the battlefield like never before. From the early V-1 and V-2 rockets of World War II to the laser guided missiles we have now, precision weapons have become integral parts of any world conflict. The 20th century saw large advancements in military strategies and technologies. From the first aircraft used in battle to the nuclear bomb, the first half of the century was a time of great advancement for military technologies. Combat was continually evolving, and the technology had to keep up. Precision weapons first appeared over the skies of England during World War II, when German V-1 rockets were launched to strike key targets in England. Although the guidance systems were very simple to say the least, they were the first weapons that were able to be guided to their targets. World War II saw a vast number of different weapons developed by every country in the hopes of attaining some sort of tactical advantage. The Germans were on the forefront of this as they were the first to develop long-range missiles that could hit targets much more accurately than conventional bombs at the time. As more countries saw the advantages weapons like this had, they began to develop precision weapons of their own. The Americans created a television-guided bomb that could be controlled by the bomber and the aircraft. Air-to-air combat in Vietnam was different than any of the wars before. In previous conflicts, most battles between aircraft involved shooting each other with machine guns, but in the age of supersonic flight, that was no longer a viable strategy. Instead, both sides of the war relied on missiles that could guide themselves to the enemy's aircraft. Missiles like the Sidewinder became staples of the military air force and are still used today. A prime example of the use of precision guided munitions in Vietnam was the bombing of the Thanh Hoa Bridge. The importance of this moment was that it only took 12 aircraft armed with laser guided bombs to completely destroy the bridge, in contrast to the 7 previous years and thousands of missions flown against the target with no success. When thinking of the Gulf War, the first images thought of are the vast aerial campaign waged against the Iraqis in the opening parts of the war. Images of missiles flying across the sky, making sharp turns, and flying through streets in order to hit their targets. This war was characterized by the U.S.'s quick and efficient destruction of the Iraqi military with its use of precision weapons and air superiority. The U.S. had unmanned aerial vehicles which they could control remotely from a distant location. These UAVs came equipped with various amounts of armaments that the operator could control and guide accurately to the desired target. Another benefit of the UAVs was that it took away the risk of losing a life since the vehicle had nobody inside of it. The US was able to use their advanced technology to quickly defeat an imposing military in only 6 months. In addition to the quick defeat, the US only suffered 149 casualties, whereas the Iraqi casualty count was closer to 100,000. Without the use of precision weapons, the casualty count would have been much higher for the US, since they would have had to send more troops to deal with the Iraqi military. After the US invaded Iraq and Afghanistan, they found themselves fighting a war not too different from the war in Vietnam. No longer were they fighting against a clear and defined military funded by the government. Instead, they were fighting a group of radicals that all shared the same ideas. The tactics of the terrorists in these countries usually revolved around endangering civilians in the hopes that the U.S. military would not attack these targets since it could endanger civilian lives. Precision weapons have allowed the U.S. to hit these targets with minimal collateral damage. With the wars in these countries becoming increasingly unpopular, the U.S. has had to rely on more precision and unmanned weapons to fulfill their goals. Not only does this allow for more accurate destructions of desired targets, but it also decreases the likelihood of endangering the lives of soldiers fighting with the coalition.